Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced plans to invest $110 billion over 10 years to build an independent arms industry. Quote, I approved a total of 350 billion shekels over the coming decade to build an independent arms industry for the state of Israel, he said. We want to reduce our dependence on any party, even on friends. We know what that means. The finest minds in our defense industries are hard at work developing weapons systems that will guarantee Israel's advantage on the battlefield of the future. Now, this is a good thing, ultimately. We're happy to see this, and why not? Israel excels at developing weapon systems, and they absolutely should be investing money towards that. Now, let me say this. We are going to build an independent arms industry. That is a little bit deceptive, and to me, this reeks of a lot of happy talk right before an election. Now, here's the good news. The good news is that Netanyahu is saying this because he understands that the Israeli public wants to see an independent state of Israel. And let's not mince words here. When Benjamin Netanyahu says an independent Israel, independence from who? From who? The United States. Now, like I said, although this is certainly good news, will this actually create independence for Israel? Is that what this will do? For example, will Netanyahu begin the redevelopment of an Israeli jet fighter like we saw in the 80s in Israel? Is that what we're going to see? Because we do know that the F-35s being supplied by the United States, this is a critical piece for Israel. Right? Israel relies very heavily on their Air Force. An F-35, by the way, which the United States has been selling to Saudi Arabia and talking about selling to Turkey and Qatar and God knows who else. So the fact is that the jet fighter that Israel relies on, the United States is now either selling or talking about selling to Israel's enemies. So if Israel does not develop and manufacture its own jet fighter, Israel will still be dependent on the United States. Is Israel going to start mass manufacturing munitions? Because we know that that's also a big problem for Israel, relying on getting shipments of these kinds of weapons from the United States. That's not what this sounds like. This sounds like development, R&D systems, and those are good things. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to see that. But does this really answer the quote-unquote dependency problem that we have with the United States? Doesn't sound like it. Okay, so again, good story, but this does not answer the question. It doesn't. Now, we have this story here from this Rabbi Pesach Wolicki. It's time to ditch U.S. aid, why Israel needs to, quote, stand on its own. Headlines like this really annoy me. As if it's Israel's fault. Israel, it refuses to, quote unquote, stand on its own. Is that the issue? Is that what's going on here? The United States is doing everything right, but Israel up until now refused to stand on its own. You know what? This is a Jewish person here who, by his own admission, attended, I think they call it AmFest, like America Festival. And the big headlines are America First. We have a rabbi here. I don't know of what kind of variety exactly, but a rabbi here who openly associates with America First. We are Israel first. Jews need to be Israel first. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And you know, blaming Israel for America's blackmail and extortion of the state of Israel, that's about as Israel last as you get. What you have here, let's be really frank. What you have here is an American rabbi with dual loyalties to the United States of America and his people. And that's a sad thing. But unfortunately, we see a lot of this going around. So anyway, this guy's a big self-proposed, yeah, I'm a right-wing Zionist. Yeah, right. Okay, well, let's just see what the good rabbi has to say, shall we? Let's see. Now, a lot of this article is, what I consider to just be really kind of happy talk. It's happy talk. Israel's on the verge of a decision that could fundamentally alter its relationship with the United States. Oh yeah, we see what this relationship is. Let's be very frank here. This relationship is very similar to the relationship that a desperate man has with his neighborhood loan shark. That's what this relationship is. And here's what I mean by that. I hear all the time, well, Donald Trump helped free the hostages, right? I mean, come on. We need to be thankful to President Trump for freeing the hostages. Now, you know what this is synonymous to? This is synonymous to a desperate man who needs money for a medical operation for a family member. He's desperate. He's got nowhere to go, has nowhere to get this money. He goes to his local neighborhood loan shark. And what is the loan shark's reaction, do you think? He says, oh, of course I would help you. I'd be so happy to help you. And he's going to give him the money, of course. Now, of course, this loan is going to cost, I guess in the parlance of loan sharking, it'll cost him 10 points a week, right? 10% interest weekly tacked onto the principal, right? Going to bleed this guy dry. Now, would anyone say that this loan shark is a great friend of this desperate man? Of course not. Of course not. You know what you would look and say? Yeah, this is an extorter, a person who takes advantage of someone at their weakest moment and takes advantage of that to bleed them dry. That's what the United States is. That's who Donald Trump is. Israel's friend? Yet again, Donald Trump is Israel's friend as much as the loan shark in the neighborhood is the greatest friend of the desperate man. No one in their right mind would say something like this. But let's just see how this rabbi, this Israel last rabbi, let's hear how he phrases it, right? Let's see. We have to redefine the terms. Yeah, we'll redefine the terms, all right. You know what the new terms need to be? America out. Those are the terms. Those are the terms that we need. The idea of ending 3.8 billion in annual US military aid might sound unthinkable. Oh, let me scroll up a bit. But Israel has reached the point where it no longer needs to rely on the United States to maintain its security. That's true. Don't get me wrong. That's 100% true. But is that what's been going on? Is that what's going on? That Israel was relying on the United States? Well, so here we go, right? And yet for years, American aid has come with a price. Oh, dear Rabbi, why don't you explain to us what that price is? U.S. influence over Israel's strategic decisions, from the Sinai withdrawal in '79 to the Iran nuclear deal. American aid has been tied to political concessions. Why would that be, though? Why would that be? Again, this rabbi doesn't want to point out the fact that, yes, of course, Israel should make moves towards independence or self-reliance. Sure. No one that's pro-Israel is going to argue that point. But the point that needs to be discussed is, why must Israel do this? Forget about the fact that it's a smart thing to do in general, but why is this more necessary than ever? And the answer is very simple. Now, this rabbi, again, who attends American conferences, America First conferences, the thing he won't tell you is that Israel has to do these things because America has been blackmailing and extorting Israel since day one. that America is a shitty ally to the state of Israel. That's what it is. It's not that, oh, it's our fault. You don't understand these people. We're at fault. It's us. No, I should pull that up. Right? They say the symptoms of a of what do they call of a battered woman, a battered wife. They say it's my fault. It's my fault. That's exactly what we have here. It's our fault. We buy weapons from the United States, and it's our fault that they use that deal that we buy weapons from them. They use that deal to blackmail and extort us and fund our enemies. It's our fault. No, it isn't our fault. I personally will be taking zero responsibility for the United States treating us like garbage. None. The United States is the one that's behaving badly. Oh, it's our fault. No, it isn't. I don't want to hear this anymore. Should Israel have more self-sufficiency? Of course. Of course they should. Here's a question, though. Here's a serious question. Israel's going to, according to this story, Netanyahu is going to make sure $100 billion are earmarked for development of defense systems. Great, that's a good thing. But here's my question. And let's just say that Israel says, you know what? We're taking no more US aid. No more. That's it. Which again is also a good thing. But here is the question. In that scenario, when Israel says, you know what? We're annexing the West Bank. We're annexing the whole West Bank. Does anyone believe that the United States will simply sit back and say, well, they don't take foreign aid, I guess we'll just sit back and accept that? Does anyone really think that? Does anyone really believe that? That America will not wield sanctions and UN veto and all kinds of tools in their toolbox. Does anyone believe that the United States will sit back and not use those tools against Israel just because we stop taking aid? Does anyone believe that? And if you don't believe that, if you say, no, I agree with you, America will sanction Israel and America will withhold their UN veto. If that is true, then why are we talking about the United States as an ally? Why are we talking about them as a quote-unquote friend to the state of Israel? If we all admit that any leverage that the United States has against Israel, they will wield against us, then why do we talk about the United States as an ally? Why do we say we need to redefine the relationship? This doesn't sound like much of a relationship at all. It's like saying, I have a girlfriend and she cheats on me with everyone I know. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make more money, right? And give myself more leverage and then redefine the relationship. I'm sorry, brother. There is no relationship. There is nothing here. That's what the United States is. The United States looks at you, us, as a state. The United States looks at us as a chump. That's how they look at us. They say, we can treat them like garbage. We don't care. We don't care. And we act as if, no. Like in this scenario, no, I don't make enough money. That's the problem. I'm not a high status enough man. That's the problem. No, that's not the problem. The problem is they don't care about you. They're going to go out of their way to hurt you and treat you badly. What are we doing here anymore? What are we doing here? But again, you have Jews like this Rabbi Wolicki and others, and Jews even in Israel. See, it's our fault. It's our fault. We're the problem. The United, you know what they say? They said, had we done what Trump wanted, again, this is all revisionist history. Trump told us to expel the Gazans. Wrong, not true. That's not true. Trump told us to expel the Gazans so America could take over Gaza. You want to know something? That would have been the worst case scenario. That would have been literally worse than what we have today, America taking over Gaza. Had we done what Trump wanted, then he wouldn't crawl into bed with Qatar. Really? Really? Okay. It's our fault. We need to redefine the relationship. You know what? Yeah, we're going to redefine it. Goodbye. Leave. Leave and never come back again. That's how we redefine the relationship. All the political leverage. You see, guys, it's just leverage. That's what it is. That's what it is. End the aid and replace it with joint defense initiatives, where both Israel and the U.S. invest in advanced military technology. Here's another question. America, Donald Trump said Qatar is one of America's best allies, and Saudi Arabia. These joint defense, what did they call them here? These joint defense initiatives and the technology that, is developed. Will America be sharing those with Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Egypt? Yes. Yes. Why on earth should we be doing anything like this at all? This would allow Israel to maintain its defense cooperation with America without the political leverage. Wow, these guys have such nice words for blackmail and extortion. Political leverage. It's a bold plan and one that could finally liberate Israel from the grip of foreign influence. Foreign influence? Again, you mean American blackmail? Is that what you mean? And as I pointed out, it will do no such thing. Listen, it will increase our position. I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is a bad move. But to think that this will get the American menace off of our back is completely delusional. Completely and totally delusional. America will continue to use this UN veto against us. They will continue to use sanctions if necessary. They will continue to withhold jet fighters like the F-35 from us. They will continue to supply F-35s to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. They will continue to fund the Palestinian Authority. How does this address any of that? It doesn't. What's that? That's the SpongeBob thing, right? It's the thing. America. This does not answer the problem we have with America. This is not a dependency problem. This is an extortion problem. And we cannot escape it if we don't name them. And their name is America. This is not, what does he say? Foreign influence. No, this is not foreign influence. This is American influence. That's what it is. America is the problem. Sorry. Now, it's interesting because those of us who are Israel first, we understand that America is a problem, but we think we're all alone. There's no one else. No other countries have these problems. It turns out that that's not true. Not true by a long shot. So let's see. What do we have here? We have a very interesting video. I'll play. It has subtitles, thankfully. Thankfully, not. And I don't think most of us don't speak Japanese. So let's see if I can center this video here a little bit better than I've been doing. Let's see. I'll pull this down here actually. Here we go. So I'm just going to start it from the top. We're going to have to read along with the subtitles. Like I said, I don't speak Japanese, but Japan is not an independent country. It's a colony of the United States. Sound familiar? Sound familiar?
Phoenix, Arizona, about...
Oh, sorry. 1 second. Let's see. What happened here? Japan is essentially a colony.
主権国家でございます。
Japan is a sovereign nation. Okay. Right. It presents itself as a sovereign nation, but so they also have territories that should be native to Japan. But for whatever reason, American influence is stopping them, making a problem. Sound familiar? Why won't they be returned? So this is what he's saying, that Japan would hand it back, but they're afraid America is going to put bases there. American bases in Japanese soil. Sounds a lot like what we have going on here, by the way. Russia asked Japan to promise that it would not allow U.S. bases on the islands. But Japan declined. Oh, sure. Just like we were going to do with Gaza. America's going to come in, set up bases there, although America has bases in Kiryat Gat in Israel. So Japan also, there are certain elements in Japan that are having a problem with American imperialism in their country and domination over their country. Oh, it seems like we're not the only ones. If Japan cannot make decisions about its own territory without needing the approval of the United States, then it cannot truly be called a sovereign nation. My brother, thank you, thank you. Now, unlike when it comes to Israel, this guy's not saying, but of course America's our greatest ally. This guy's not saying that. Good for him. Good for you, my man. It's a colony of the United States. American Army runs exercises in Japan that they don't even run in the United States. Because treated like a colony. Exactly. Look, and who is this guy here? Let's just take a look. This is in the Japanese parliament. Okay, I'm not exactly sure who this guy is, but understand, Israel is not the only country having this problem. I would bet it's also true in Ukraine. I would bet it's true in other countries as well. So look, either Israel can look around and start to see countries that are truly in a similar situation. You see, to me, a country like Japan would be a perfect ally. Could they replace the United States? Are we looking to replace the United States? Is that what we really want? A gigantic country that's going to threaten us and push us around and blackmail and extort us? Or are we looking for an equal partner? Japan is a terrific country, smart and innovative and hardworking. Seems like a perfect ally for Israel. And both countries have a ridiculous amount of American influence, subjugating them and putting army bases in their country against their will, and telling them which territories they can keep and which they cannot, and creating problems with countries that they should have good relations with. Japan, according to this guy, basically would have good relations with Russia if not for the United States. It's time for Israel to take back its sovereignty in the same way that other countries are starting to notice the same problem. And they are making the same demand from their country. We need to take our sovereignty back. We don't have a dependency problem. We have an America problem. It is not our fault that America blackmails us. It is not leverage. It's extortion. America is a shitty ally. Let's just say it the way it is. You see, unlike this Rabbi Wolicki, I don't go to AM Fest. I don't go to America Fest because I'm Israel first. America can do whatever they want. Israel is my country. The Jewish people are my people. The American people are not my people. The Jewish people are my people. I am not going to look at foreign nations that treat my country and my people badly and say things like, oh, it's a dependency problem. It's us. It's us. No, it isn't us. It isn't. Yeah, do we have our own internal issues in Israel? Of course we do, like every country does. But that's not what we're facing here. It's not what we're facing at all. Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want to expel the Gazans. Let me say this very simply. If Benjamin Netanyahu were to expel the Gazans and annex Gaza, today his party has 30 seats or 32, I don't recall, in the Knesset. If he would do that, his party would have 70 seats in the Knesset. And he's an old man, so he's not going to live forever. But as long as he would be in politics, he would be prime minister unquestionably, with unquestionable power until he decides to stop being in the parliament. So this notion, well, Netanyahu doesn't want to do those things, that is fake news. Netanyahu can't do these things because he's not strong enough to tell the United States, you need to leave. That is the problem. Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Netanyahu has no interest in being the biggest party in Israel since David Ben-Gurion. Oh, okay. Listen, again. Let's push aside all of the fake stories and all of the nonsense and look at things the way that they are. The problem is America. And despite what American Jews and even Israeli Jews seem to think, it is not our fault. It's America's fault. The only thing that we are at fault for is not throwing out America. That's it. That's it. We have, let me state this before we wrap up here. Israel has all of the military technology and weapons necessary to throw out all of the Gazans and all of the Palestinians today. They don't need another weapons shipment from the United States to accomplish it. They don't. They don't. And that's obvious. And if Israel were to expel all of the Gazans and Palestinians, neither of whom are citizens, by the way, if Israel were to expel both of them, it would become so rich and so safe and so strong, it would never need the United States or any country ever again. You would literally, and it's not an exaggeration, you would be talking about trillions of dollars, not shekels, trillions of dollars in terms of new real estate acquisition. All of this territory would now be annexed by Israel. No more United States, no more anybody. So to say we need the United States, it's the exact opposite. The United States is killing the state of Israel. Oh, we need to do it to get rid of dependency. No. The only dependency we have is up here. Up here and in here. They are a menace and we need to get rid of them. And like I said, there are other countries like Japan, for one example right here, as one example, a country that's saying, we're not sovereign anymore. That's exactly what he's saying, and it's true for us as well. And I would say, no, there's not a single party in the Knesset that has any issue with this, with American domination of Israel. But there soon will be. We are in process of registering the Israel First Party in Israel. Check out our website, www.israelfirstparty.com. israelfirstparty.com/manifesto if you want to see a little bit more into specifically what we're talking about. Sign up and look, ultimately, if we really want to see an independent, strong, and dominant state of Israel, there's only one way to do it, and it's not with the class of Israel last politicians we have today. Only Israel First can lead us to the kind of future that we want for ourselves and for our children.